For all the people who say that I was incorrect in my Linux video, that all the problems are me, suddenly Zoom loses its ever-loving mind and just refuses to work.
Yep.
Show was ready. We were ready to roll. We were ready to roll 5 minutes ago, and then
We
Zoom
were on
decided.
time.
Zoom
I was on
decided.
time.
Yeah. eh, Zoom decided to like triple my video output and squish it, and a whole bunch of other weird things. OBS decided to lose my YouTube stream key. So like everything just decided to lose its mind here in the last couple minutes. But hey, we're live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 348, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right in the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can talk with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Yeah. I'm trying to get some new batteries for my keyboard from my producer. She brought me double A's. Oh, triple.
I was wondering what the 3 was.
Yeah. So I was like, 3.
Year of the Linux desktop. Yes, indeed. Just like every other year. Just like every year from now. 2025, definitely going to be the year of the Linux desktop, right?
Oh, yeah. Every
Right?
year's that way.
Right?
Thank you.
Bueller? Right? Oh, it's going to be a good show. We've got some Intel Arrow Lake leaks. We've got some potential X3D Ryzen 3000 or not Ryzen 3000, Ryzen 9000 series leaks. Not really, but it's a slow news week.
Yep.
We've got let's see, Valve banning players for using hardware augmentation. We'll get into that. And Borderlands, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Just keeps going.
Yeah.
All right, let me try something. No, my camera might go out. Yep.
What else is new?
Ah.
Well, come here. What? What? What are you barking for? Goober?
All right.
What, do you need to be up here? Is that the problem?
Video. Hey!
There. There. Now you're up. Is
Keyboard
everyone
still
happy now?
record.
Are you happy now?
No keyboard today. Oh, wow. Oh, wait. It's just really slow? Yeah, it's really slow. Okay. That's weird.
All right. The puppers is up. Is the puppers happy now? You're only going to be able to do this for a couple more weeks. You're getting way too big for this already. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Anyways, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah, second co-host tonight. Yes. Stormy, the second co-host. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the sweet girl. Anyway,
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know about you. It has been a week.
Yeah, I've had a months.
It has been a week, and it is only Wednesday. So I'm going to just open my beer.
Going for it.
Starting with an IPA, we've got the Breakside Double Wanderlust, 8.2%.
Nice. All right.
Puppy, what is this? I need to get you a second chair, don't I? So you can sit next to me. Yeah. Yeah, so you can sit next to me, huh? There we go. Maybe we'll have to do that. Yeah, Breakside Double Wanderlust, 8.2%. Oregon Classic. Cannot go wrong with a Breakside IPA.
No, I too am going for a sort of a classic. Surly may not be as big of a brand name as Breakside, specifically, especially here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
But Voltron is classic everywhere.
Yes.
And so we are going to be having Voltron Volume 4 from Surly Brewing.
Excellent.
This is only coming in, though, at 6.5.
Love how clear this beer is.
Oh, I know.
That's just pretty.
They don't make that anymore.
Nope.
As can be seen here. I mean, it's a nice beer, just clear. Sometimes it's nice to have too.
Yep. Nice, clear, crisp. Starbuck Tech drinking a hazy little thing IPA. You know, what's funny is I almost grabbed. I was looking at the hazy little thing. I was looking at the big little thing. I had a whole bunch of Sierra beers that I was heavily considering tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. BC is drinking a Boulevard Single Wide IPA. Skull's got a Hop Butcher for the World. Dun dun dun. Imperial Hazy Double. 4.23 on Untapped.
Jeez.
Novella's got a Black Stack Brewing, But I Digress Double IPA. 8.1%, 3.95 on Untapped. But I digress. This isn't Jay's 2 cents show. Jason's got his last Obsidian Stout from a 6-pack that he bought. Hey, happy little coincidence.
Hey, look at that.
Someone read the show notes. That's my second beer for the night. Reverend's got a Hustle Double IPA from Fremont, Seattle, Washington, 9%.
Ooh, love me some Fremont.
Yes. And Fryer says, not drinking yet, but did y'all see the new DLC for Dredge came out today? I did not see that. One sec.
Ah, oh, that tastes like goodness. All right, now I'm getting back.
And Coffee gets in late with a again a Sierra Nevada. Got the Bigfoot 2024 9.6. If anyone's a fan of Bigfoot, it's John.
I do. I should. I want to drink. I should drink some of mine. Yes. I got all the way back from 2011.
Yeah,
I have one. I really. But
I
then I
would have had all the way back to 2011.
It wasn't my fault. They only had one setup.
Oh no, you didn't. You don't remember that story? 2020, Sierra Nevada offered a back package.
I remember that story.
I ordered 2 of them, and they were porch pirated from me.
I do remember that. Yes.
Yep.
I remember that because I didn't buy that, and then you did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I ordered 2 of $200 worth of Bigfoots.
Yeah.
Yep. Never got them back. Never got my money back either. I was irritated. Jordan says 4%. It's a beer. It's free. Left in my fridge from last weekend. You know, sometimes that's the best kind of beer.
That's the best. I was gonna say, like, that's kind of the best beer. The beer that your friend left you.
Yep. And we'll get one more in. John Jay's having a Nelson Extra Juicy Bits of Hazy Double IPA. 8.6 and a 4.32 on Untapped. We're going. Woo! We are pushing some bounds tonight with the Untapped ratings.
Go. And chat's good. That's good. All right, I'm good. You know, I don't even know what the untapped of this one is. I'm assuming it tastes good. Surely it usually does good. Let's see if their barcode scanner works. 395.
Dr. Kananga wants to know, could I do a video on VMs and anti-cheat, please? Probably not. Because I like a lot of my videos to be evergreen. I don't like to do, at this moment in time, videos. And anything to do with anti-cheat in a VM or anti-cheat on Linux is going to be, today, at this very moment, this is the situation. And I don't know about you, but I hate videos like that. I hate videos that 3 months after they're published are completely out of date and then they're never taken down. Yeah. And then they never visit the subject again. I hate that, and I don't want to be that person. Anti-cheat, you have to read the current state of whatever anti-cheat your provider is, or whatever game you want to play. Do they support VMs? Do they support Linux? If the answer is no, the answer is no. So, and give me 1 second. Apparently Stormy wants to go outside, so I'm gonna pop her upstairs real quick. So John, you have the floor momentarily.
I have the floor. All right. What are we talking about here, people? What's in the chat? Well, Jeff already did all the chats. I don't think you guys want to see me do a video of that stuff. So I know I have been doing a lot less videos. It's just been busy at work. Who else hasn't been busy at work? It's just that time. Life. Jeez. Once a month, I get to drink in front of a camera now. What's new in John's world? I work all the time. I had to go to Florida. And now I'm catching people spamming at my work. It's so much fun. Then they're going through the firewall. It's great. But I have so many videos I just can't edit. I don't know actually what's going on. Is my half the time I have to edit stuff and I have to remote in, and it's lagging for some reason. I got to figure out what the issue is. It's causing my delays in pumping videos out because now my spirit is low because like, it takes even more work to put videos out.
Oh, by the way, you DM'd me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, let's figure out a time and let's build your new editing rig because I promised you some new hardware." So yes, let's do that. I said we could do that, and then I will bring over the 14-year-old Elijah Craig barrel-aged $120 bottle of beer that we can try. See, I knew there was a reason I wanted to do this.
So I was like, well, let's try that. Let's drink that.
Yes. Yeah. Let me get a couple pieces of hardware together. I want to try to find you a cool case. I'm gonna get someone to sponsor you a power supply because holy crap, that should never hurt anyone again.
My bronze level 1,000-watt power supply is not good enough for you?
It's not 1,000 watts, and I highly doubt it's bronze. Okay,
it's bronze coated.
We always recommend here in tech circles of going with name brand power supplies. I would be grateful if John's 1,000-watt power supply was even a RAID Max. That's how low the bar I'm setting for John is. It's not.
This was peak. This is before Temu or whatever it's called. This is peak Wish.com purchasing era.
Yes.
Power supplies.
Yes.
And it still works.
Yes, it does.
So, yeah, I mean, there's got to be something said for that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we'll get you a cool system together. Yeah, we'll get you some stuff.
We'll do it. Then we can do that, and maybe I'll bring over the 2011 lineup of Bigfoots, and you can finally have a taste of it too.
Yes, I am on board for this. Actually, you know what we need to do? You know what needs to happen is we need to build you the PC, and yeah, we'll do the Elijah Craig. I think that'll be a fun 2-for-1 video opportunity.
Yeah.
What we need to do is I have an extra seat at PDX LAN. You need to go to PDX LAN in November, show off your case, and then we'll do the line of Bigfoots at PDX LAN.
Oh, that would be fun. I do have vacation time I need to get rid of.
It's a dry event, but we could open the Bigfoots like in the parking lot or in the hotel room,
Right.
And we'll do the video from there. Yeah.
That would be fun. We could do that.
Yeah. So you're going to PDX LAN this year. It's been decided.
I mean, I went to lunch one day.
You went to lunch, but lunch is not the LAN. So
no, it's true.
Yeah, it's in November. Someone remind me of the
that.
day. It's like November 7th through 10th or something like that. It's a long weekend. So you're going to the LAN. I've decided. Skull will be there. So
nice.
So we'll finally get to meet Skull in person.
Nice.
Yeah. And Rhett and Steve have been going to every LAN anyway, so we might actually have all 4 of us together at an event for like the first time since 2019, which would be amazing. So it's been decided. Hops and Brews is going to PDX LAN. Yeah, November 8th through 11th. That's what I thought. Yep. Done.
Perfect. I'll do it. Well, yeah, we'll make it. We'll do it. We'll do the lineup of Bigfoots, or we'll do a lineup of something really special too. I mean, I need to get three-fourths of my refrigerator now is all like barrel-aged beers that I've been collecting and waiting to save for people. I'm like, all I have is my 12-pack of, all right, this is my weekly drinkers. And then everything else is, oh no, this is a video. Oh, this I have to save for this. And that's all, everything else. I was like, I have to drink these. I was even today or last night being like, I need a beer. All I got are 15, 19, 20%. Like, oh my gosh. I just wanted a light beer.
Yeah. No, that's why I went out and I just bought a couple from the $2 case today. I've got 2 video. I had to shoot a video today. I've got to shoot another video hopefully tomorrow. And I also had the show to do tonight, but I went out to my fridge and I've got a 13.2 quadruple IPA. I've got a 14% barley wine. I've got a 12% lactose imperial stout. I've got, and that's all that's in my fridge right now. It's ridiculous. So went out and I got a couple medium beers. Anyway, that's going to be fun.
All right. I know I have one video I'm not looking forward to doing. I think I mentioned this last time, but I got this, and I think we mentioned it a long time ago in the beer news, but it's this beverage that's supposed to cut your ABV level down by 50% in 30 minutes. And I saw another person review it, and they had a breathalyzer and everything, and it didn't go down. It started going down 30 minutes faster. It was about 25% down, but within an hour, it was about 50% less. And so I thought, well, what I'll do is I have to get drunk one night and
no, what you need to do.
I need to catalog my ABV and how fast I go down.
It's not just ABV. It's the food that you eat. It's everything for the previous 48 hours leading up to the test.
Yeah.
Because the way your body metabolizes alcohol differs depending on what you've eaten, your level of rest, your everything else. And so what you need to do is you almost need to block out 2 days with 48 hours leading up to those 2 days where you you eat the same meals at the same time, you get the same amount of sleep every night, and then you sit down at 8 o'clock at night and you go, okay, my last meal was at 5 o'clock and I had this, and I slept for 7 hours last night, so I'm in the same state right now. I'm gonna drink these 2 beers. I'm gonna breathalyze myself at 30 minutes, at 60 minutes, and at 90 minutes. Because breathalyzers are also not accurate within 20 minutes of your last drink. So you need to consume the beer in the same amount of time. You then need to wait 30 minutes for your first breathalyzer. So you need to drink, you need to consume to get to the level of drunk you want to get
Yeah.
at the same rate for both tests.
Yes. And well, and I want to get, so my thought is to also take basically not even just 2 beers, but I got to get to the legal limit, I thought. So this is why now I am intoxicated.
Right.
Essentially. And, 2 beers will probably not get me intoxicated. I was like, probably the fastest way to do this is probably more shots than anything.
I would actually say for 2 beers, if we're talking like, the nomenclature of, a 4.5% light beer, 2 beers is not going to get you intoxicated. 2 pints of an IPA, yes, it will within an hour.
Maybe what, depending upon, like you were saying, what you ate.
I guarantee you. If you drink 2 7.5% pints of IPA, it will get you above 0.08.
You think so?
Yes.
That's another great video. What it takes.
Right.
That's actually that's not a bad one. But then again, back to you have to have a base point. That's a lot of work.
You have to have a baseline. You have to have a baseline, and your baseline has to be repeatable.
Yes.
Otherwise it's anecdotal at best.
Yeah.
So your body also metabolizes at either a certain or different rate depending on, again, what you've eaten and what you've done. So if you're getting up to a 0.08 and then saying, well, within an hour it was 50% less. Yes, that's called your body's metabolic rate of processing the alcohol. You process 1 drink per hour, or about 0.04% per hour. That's not news.
Brandon says, well, 08 if you drink 3 to 4 beers if you drink it fast.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Jeff was saying, that you have to wait for it to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you saying, we're drunk at the end of these episodes, Jeff?
Your body can metabolize 1 drink per hour. On average, the average adult male can metabolize 1 drink per hour, and that is 1 shot of that is 1.5 ounces of an 80 proof whiskey, or that is the beer varies a little bit, but somewhere between a 4 and a 7% pint. So a 16 ounce of beer.
We can probably 5.5%, I believe, is what because that's where the average is. So
right,
4.5,
right.
So 5.5%.
So your body, if you sit down and at 1 p.m. you drink 1 pint of beer, it's going to take you 15 minutes to drink that pint. From the end of the pint to 1 hour later, so at 2:15, you will now be sober again. Your body will have absorbed it and metabolized it within that amount of time. A drink is 12 ounce, 5%. Let me just bring a calculator here real quick.
Good, because that'd be a bottle.
Right.
Cans 8 ounces or 12 ounces? Yeah, cans 12 ounces. So this is 16. No, because this is double. No, yeah. It's can. Yeah, 8 ounces. 12 ounces. Yeah, 12 ounces.
Trying to figure what the actual rate for a 12 ounce beer would be. Because 1.5 ounces of a 40 proof liquor is 0.6 ounces of ether, of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So what divided by 12 ounces would get you the same amount?
Yeah.
My brain is failing me today. Anyway, yeah. No, it'd be about 6%. 6% of 12. Right?
Oh, so they say 5.5. A drink is 12 ounces of 5%. Well, that's what's good old Chat GPT say. You all know the AI, they got all the answers and it always tells you the truth.
0.6 times 12 is 7.2, so it'd be a 7.2. 7.2% 12-ounce beer. Or something different. But anyway,
or
like I said,
or
between
16.5, 6.5.
But between 5 and 7% 12-ounce beer. Anyway,
Yeah.
your body on the average adult male metabolizes 1 drink per hour. But your body has to first absorb that alcohol to then process it. And so the absorption takes some time. But like I said, if you drink it in about 15 minutes, it takes maybe another 10 to 20 minutes to fully absorb into your system. If you start drinking at 1 p.m., by 12:30 you're done. You're 0.0 again. But if you have 2 drinks within the hour, and you reach, a 0.08, your body will only go down by that 0.04 within the hour. So, yeah.
However, then you're still below the intoxicated level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then, is that the claim of this drink? Is that it gets you there 30 minutes faster, or that it just takes you 30 minutes, but then therefore by doing that, it's just your normal rate, and they're just...
I don't know how anything you ingest can pull alcohol out of your bloodstream.
I don't know.
Knowing a decent amount about how the gut works. You can install a second liver, and that might do it, but... Yeah, I have some serious doubts over that product.
For those who have graciously joined the Discord, I will throw it in the Discord. And you can talk amongst yourselves about it as we talk about tech news.
The safety shot, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to just come right out and call BS. I'm just saying. This seems like snake oil. This
sounds like a great
feels
video.
Like snake oil. Anyway, we do have some news to get to. So apparently, Intel's Core Ultra 9 285K Arrow Lake CPU, their next desktop flagship or flagship level CPU. I'm just going to read it direct from WCCF. Blazes past Core i5 14900KS and Ryzen 9 9950X in benchmark leaks. So, like most leaks we talk about, Geekbench 6 is the one in question because they publicize every benchmark that's ever ran through them. And we get some numbers. So on August 21st, so basically first thing this morning, we see the Core Ultra 9 285K, 24 cores, or 24 threads, rather, 8 performance cores, 16 efficiency cores. And we get a single-threaded benchmark of 3449 and a multi-threaded score of 23,024. We do get some information about frequency stepping of all the cores, so we're sitting right about 5.7 gigahertz across every core, which is kind of cool, both on performance and efficiency. That's worth noting here, is that we're hitting 5.7 on both core types, not just one. And according to WCCF's benchmark here, it's about 100 points faster than a 9950X. And like 300 points faster than a 14900KS. So some pretty bold claims. But being a little skeptical of those numbers, I went ahead and decided to run them or look up the Geekbench numbers myself. And so here I have the 9950X various scores. And we don't need to go far to see scores that are higher than this, probably with PBO enabled. So we've got one submitted It says tomorrow, but probably tomorrow their time. Here's a 9950X running a 3576 and a 23992, which, forgive me if my math is a little off. I know I just tried to calculate the amount of ether in a 12-ounce can, but those numbers are higher, right?
In theory.
Right. We can scroll down and see there's not a lot of numbers below 3400 in this list. I mean, in the first page, there's only like three of the recent scores that are below 3400. The multi-threaded scores we're seeing, closer to 22. Here's one at 19,000. I don't know what in the world they did there.
But that's multi-core.
But between 22 and even 25,000, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's higher than this, right?
Yeah, right. I could be, maybe there's a comma or something that's been missed. Yeah.
Yeah, the metric system, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, how does it compare to a 14900K? Well, let's go over here. Oh, look, there's a 3350 and a 23822. Huh, that number seems higher. I will say on average, there's not as many scores that are up in the 3000s or in the 3400 range. In fact, on the first page here, there's a 3351, which puts it on par with the 9950X, but not quite on par with Arrow Lake. But this score still has a higher multi-threaded score than this one does. So blazes past, I don't necessarily agree with that choice of words. I mean, I think it's certainly faster than the 14900K. Although I didn't search for the KS. Let's do that. Let's see if the KS is any better. 3200. There's a 35. There's a 34. 3445. 25,000. We know the 9950X and the 14900KS do trade blows and benchmarks. And yeah, on the KS, I'm seeing numerous scores that are the same or better. I mean, there's another one. There's another one.
Well, when you run the test yourself with all of these, you can skewer how you want it to be, Jeff.
Yes. And yes, the people who run Geekbench are typically trying to test overclocking settings or the best rates and whatever else. And who knows what the Arrow Lake test was. Like that, there's always going to be that argument. But blazes past. Overclocking has been dead in CPUs for years because we're squeezing them to their absolute limit. Look at the Raptor Lake fiasco. Blazes past, to me, implies a pretty significant margin. I'm seeing 0 to negative 3% for Arrow Lake versus these two SKUs. Not plus 10%.
Yes. Well, maybe they overclocked this one and did just everything else was standard settings.
Right. Because here they're showing the 285K Arrow Lake a full 10% faster than the 14900KS. And they're showing the max score of the 14900K at 3088. Even the 14900K was easily scoring, well above that. Here's a 33, here's a 32, here's a 32. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see where the 285K actually lands. Because I'm not seeing a lot of benchmarks on those two processors that aren't, or that are slower than the 285K.
Well, yeah, making it worth, leak out for 4% faster.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot there. I mean, the problem is, whoever wrote this is obviously wrote it for Intel and got the data from Intel. Therefore, Intel sat there and skewed it completely for their side. it's easy. I mean, they do that with every processor, and then they probably have to make it look like at best, it probably wasn't on average 10%. It was at its best, it was 10% higher. So let's put that one. And then these other ones, what were their lowest scores? Okay, here's their lowest scores. They technically all really did hit these numbers. So therefore, we can say that, yeah, at one point, but then you run another test. Oh, no, actually, it hit this higher. Because not every test is going to give you the exact same number every time. It's a ballpark. And you take it, you would do like 5 or 6 of them, average it out. That's what it hits. That's what you're supposed to do, anyways. But yeah. And then just to say it's 10% better, then you're going with Intel saying, look, it is a significant boost upgrade. You're going to want to buy it. 10%. That's, usually we do like 8% or 5%. This is 10%. Buy this one. You're going to see a significant jump. It's also takes less power. So it's 10% more efficient. And I think it's 1/3 the power, or, I think it takes 100 watts less, is what they're claiming. So I think they're trying to get it to sell point. It's one of those things. We're going to see it. It comes out, and then every reviewer is going to get it, and then we're probably going to see a much different mixed review of this processor. Mm-hmm. It probably is going to be a nice processor, but then is it going to be worth all the hype? Is it going to be worth the bang for the buck?
Right. And look, just like I said with the Ryzen 9950X and the 7900X and whatnot, even if the only thing we get out of this generation is significantly lower power draw, I'm all for that. That's a win. Not every generation of CPU or graphics card needs to be 40% more performance. That's an unrealistic goal. If we could get the same performance, tick-tock, remember tick-tock that Intel used to do all the time? We'd get 7% performance gains one year and then 7% efficiency the next. If we could just get tick-tock again, if we could stop literally melting the processors in the sockets and instead go, hey, maybe we should dial this one back just a little bit, I'd be thrilled. Because I am so tired of Intel systems drawing 300 watts. And people going, well, it's the fastest CPU ever. Well, yeah, but it dims the lights in my office, and it's like running a space heater right next to me when I'm trying to edit a video. I'd be thrilled if they could go, you know what, we'll do the same thing, 125 watts. Cool, sold. My CPU wasn't lacking for power anyway, so... one really cool thing, as they point out, Arrow Lake is expected to draw up to 100 watts less than the 14900KS. So the top-end chips, on average, instead of 285 watts to get your max turbo, are expected to be 185 watt. Still well above Ryzen, but a much more attractive efficiency curve, if I do say so myself. So, be interesting to see what actually...
Yeah. Oops, close the wrong tab. TikTok died. 14 nanometer.
Sorry, on the side, you have me interested in this safety shot, and so I've been Googling who is this company, and they say clinically proven to reduce your blood alcohol content. And so I said, well, where's the article at? Is it peer reviewed? And then it said it is peer reviewed. Here's the findings according to the doctor. Well, who is this doctor and who is he paid off by? Because I freaking guarantee this doesn't work.
I'll give you a can, Jeff. Tastes horrible. I'm not saying it works. I know. So it comes in a pack of 4, and I gave one to I brought because I got it just before my nephew had his bachelor party, and I was like, oh, I'll bring this because for all I know, maybe it just helps with hangovers because it's going to give me some electrolytes or something, you know. So I'll bring that because it's a bachelor party. But I ended up hosting it, so I was like, okay, I'm not drinking today, so I didn't drink it, but I still had it. So the bachelor obviously was hammered, as what one would do at a bachelor party. So I made him drink it. He only drank half the can and then like threw up.
That is an effective way to stop absorbing alcohol.
So I mean, in a sense, it kind of worked.
That is your body going, no more, please.
No
tap
more.
out.
No. So I just tried drinking it, and it tastes, the best I can say is like extra salty Flintstones vitamin liquid form is what it kind of tastes. It almost tastes gritty as you drink it too. So yeah, it's an interesting flavor.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to read this article.
Well, we can do that for the beer news. We're like, oh, we're doing this.
yeah. We'll just pivot over to that. I'll post it later in the show.
That's funny.
There we go. Asus accidentally lists Ryzen 9000 X3D series CPUs accidentally. Oops. On AMD 800 series motherboard microsite. What does that title even mean? That means if you view page source, the site contains references to supported CPUs, including AMD 9000 X3D. That's the leak.
That's it. And that really is it.
This is the article. If you press F12 on an Asus motherboard website, it will list out supported CPUs, and one of the supported CPU types is Ryzen 9000 X3D. That's it.
That's it. That's the leak.
That's the leak. Get the most out of Ryzen 9000 series X3D processors and are ready for advanced AI PCs. Yes. Yes. That's the whole article. No release date, no model numbers, no specs, nothing. That's it.
We just want to, it was leaked, or we're just trying to keep hype up for it. Oh, look, let's write an article about it to keep it in the algorithm of the news.
Going back to, will you make a video on anti-cheat? This is why. No. Because this article's here, it's going to get some clicks. Oh my god, X3D is coming. If I made a video of that video is forever searchable as current information. Videos don't expire. People don't look at the published date of videos. Almost ever. So if I made the standard clickbait title of new Ryzen 9000 X3D leaked, confirmed. Cool. I'll get 10,000 views, and then I will be inundated with comments on that video from that date forward that say, do you know they announced it 3 days later, right? This is old news. This has already been announced. And if me as someone who's searching for information on AMD Ryzen 9000 X3D a year from now, and that video pops up, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm never going to watch that channel again. I hate rumor channels. I hate rumors. The only time I will cover rumors is here on Talking Heads. Because it's more of a conversation. It's not delivering... I mean, we talk news, we talk facts, we talk things, but I will address rumors here on this platform. But I'm not going to make dedicated videos on it. Because I hate that. Novella Hub says Safety Shot is basically just Brondo, right?
It's got what you need. Electrolytes,
It's got
right?
what plants crave. Like from the toilet.
The water or the toilet.
God, people are reading it now. Korshan in Discord says this elixir infused with potent concentration of essential vitamins and the purity of crystalline water. Okay, so it's an MLM. Is it oxygenated water? Yeah. Is that what we're doing now? It has 200 mils of caffeine in it. There's your bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an energy drink. Solved it.
So wait a second. I can make this and vodka and then not get drunk.
I still don't think it works that way, John. You're
That's what the peer-reviewed doctor said.
John, you are why we have warning labels on products. Do you realize that?
Why does this mattress say don't tear and eat? Screw that. I want to try this now. It's got to taste good if it says don't eat it.
Never tasted a silica gel I didn't like.
Ah. If it looks like candy, smells like candy, must be candy.
This is true. It's water that's been spoken to positively while it's being bottled. Is that kind of like the botanicals in Aviation Gin Ryan Reynolds did a commercial on where they speak words of encouragement to every berry before it gets mashed up? You're doing a great job.
Well, they say plants can heat.
Do not eat paper, John. Nom nom nom
Nom nom nom nom. I might have eaten paper. It's fine. Paper doesn't say not to eat paper.
Yeah.
Now I think this has to be like my next video. I'll do a live stream of me drinking, taking breathalyzers on the way to be like, all right, here we go. Here's my peer review study.
The thing is, it's got to be signed. You have to have a baseline first.
I know.
So two live streams.
2 lives.
Hey, you know what that means? The first live stream, you can just get drunk.
Well, that's why I was saying. I mean, like, I might get too drunk and be like, "Woo, let's have some fun." Now
Right.
I actually have to control myself,
Right.
and that's why I was like, "I'm gonna regret doing this because I have to be very scientific about my drinking."
Allison says, "You guys peel your burgers?" God, is it Pizza Hut that has a box right now that says "open box before consuming"?
Really?
They have a pizza box, and on one of the flaps it says "open box before eating pizza."
I mean, I guess if it's like, edible, it's fine. Technically, it's probably no harmful chemicals were used to make this box.
Yeah. SDA says, "I drank the original Four Loko, but I don't remember it."
Well, yeah, so then you don't remember the hangover.
Yep.
You were cured. You're good.
God, I remember. God, this is 2011, 2012, maybe something like that. We had an organization that had. This is going to take some of you back. Groupwise, Novell Groupwise for an email server, on-prem email server. And they wanted to move to a cloud provider, whether that was Outlook or back in the day, Outlook. It wasn't 365 yet, but just Microsoft hosted. Whether that was Google, whether that was someone else. They ultimately decided they were going to go Google. They were going to get a Google Workspace domain. They were going to host email there. And we said, okay, so we'll establish a cutoff date where we will cut your email off. We will migrate your DNS. We will start delivering mail to the new addresses. And they said, great. What about all of our old emails? And I said, what about them? And they said, well, we would really like a lot of our users to be able to still access their old back email catalogs.
Mm-hmm.
From GroupWise. And they said, yeah. Okay. So for those who don't know, Novell had their own client architecture. They had their own email client that communicated with the internal server, and it was a proprietary thing. It was not readable by any other program. It wasn't. You opened GroupWise to look at your email, and that was the only access you had to that email box. We had to manually, for like 400 employees, enable Outlook, or enable the ability for Outlook to connect to GroupWise, which was like this third-party sketchy AF plugin. So we could download the contents of their email into Outlook and then create a PST. And then when we migrated to Google, we could upload that PST into Google. We could ingest it. But it was a manual process. Enable Outlook, sign into Outlook, download the contents of the Novell GroupWise email boxes, which, by the way, none of the folders, organizational systems, categories, labels, any of that came across. It was just,
raw
here's your emails.
Yep.
Just a string of emails. We then had to download those PSTs from Outlook, categorize them per account, and then remerge them up. So we hired a couple of techs, a couple of contract employees to come in and help us with this, because the whole process was just a nightmare. By the way, we had to create individual user accounts, or we had to, because it's not just syncing an Outlook account and downloading the PST and then logging into the next one, because Outlook integrates with Windows as an OS, and so Outlook doesn't want to have multiple users. So we had to create multiple user accounts, multiple local accounts on some test machines to be able to so we had to create individual user accounts, so the Outlook account in that one could download the PST. And some of these were dozens of gigabytes. And so just downloading from these servers were like from 2003. They were like 8, 9, 10 years old at the time that we were doing this.
So what I use now. Great.
Right. Yeah.
I'm used to that.
Well, I mean, you wish, but we're talking like Pentium 3, early Pentium 4 era Xeon CPUs. Single core, single thread, 2 gigahertz if you're lucky, 1.6 if you're not. Please give me all of the data that you have backloaded. So we basically had to download hundreds upon hundreds of gigabytes worth of PSTs and then resync them. The reason that this all reminded me of this is one of the techs, every day at the end of the day, we would all go hit the mini mart and then go home. We'd get like soda, or during the middle of the day we would go get soda. He would go in there and he'd buy a couple Four Loko for his drive home. So he didn't have to stop at the mini mart on the way home. So he would come in, he would spend 8 hours downloading PSTs, but at noon he would go buy a Four Loko so he could drink it as soon as he got off work. For like 2 weeks.
Well, it's got that energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I had like one Four Loko when it still had the caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had these other ones that were like technically cheaper. So I was like, I'm gonna try this, and my God, they tasted horrible. I felt weird drinking it. Caffeine and the cheap malt liquor. It just takes a, well, although I wasn't really into beer at the time or anything, so but man, I know everyone talks about the glory days of that. I'm like, no, I don't remember any glory in any of that. All right, 7 o'clock. How's that beer treating you, Jeff?
I am still there because this was a 19 ouncer, so you can
Oh, okay.
if you need to
Mine
open, please.
mine was a little bit smaller. So, all right. Mine will probably last me because it's a bit bigger. Oh, all right. Got my craft computing bottle opener. But this is
Available at craftcomputing.store, where all of your fine drinkable merch can be found.
this beverage. Oh, actually, let's get a clean glass. Oh, look. Look at this. Nice, clean looking glass. A barrel-aged Behexen. Where is this from? Brugeria Company.
I
think this-
have a bottle from that company in my fridge.
I think this is from Aaron, is why.
Okay. No, I didn't get mine from Aaron. I got mine from somewhere else.
Oh.
I only got a 6-pack from Aaron, I think. Or maybe I got that from him. Maybe I did. I don't
It
remember.
is California. As soon as I saw it as Pico Riviera, California, I was like, oh, I bet this is from Aaron.
Yeah. Maybe it is. Okay. Maybe I did get it from Aaron.
It's going down quite fast. He does prefer stouts, and he doesn't really like IPAs. But he knows everyone up here does. All right, smells fantastic, but the head dissipated very fast. So I'm betting it's a very thin. I am wrong. It is warmed up, which is nice because it's been sitting out. That is quite tasty. That is quite tasty. I mean, that is cocoa, a little bit of leather, just enough bourbon. It tastes like a wet barreled bourbon barrel aged beer.
Nice.
It is delicious.
That is really how I like a lot of my stouts. I like wet aging. I like,
yes.
Yeah, just leave that inch of bourbon in the bottom. It's fine.
Yeah, right? Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels, cocoa nibs, vanilla bean, toasted, and candied coconut. Basically, it's like a big version of Pirate Stout.
Yeah.
It is delicious.
Nice.
I'll
have to give that one a look.
Sip on that. All right, where else are we at?
I wanted to talk about this because this is one thing in the tech industry that does affect a lot of people. And that is non-competes. I think we touched on it 3, 4, 5 months ago, something like that. That basically Biden had written an executive order banning non-competes in contracts. Because the only benefit there is to the employers. And even the benefit to the employers is sketchy at best. But if you are a programmer and you get a job, let's say you're a game developer and you get a job working for Blizzard. And Blizzard, and by the way, I'm pulling this company just out of my hat. Blizzard decides that we want to hire you as a programmer, but we're going to imbue you with proprietary knowledge and practices and code and future plans. So if you decide to leave this company, you cannot work for another programming company. And they write that into your contract. If a programmer is your only qualified skill, if that's your only skilled labor that you've developed over a career, that locks you into working for Blizzard or starting a new career. And that's absurd. it's disgusting what kind of power and leverage that holds over employees, over people who develop their skills like that. Anyway, I was fully in support, obviously, and I know this is probably a little bit political, but screw you if you disagree. That I was fully in favor of non-competes going away entirely, or even being extremely limited. Like, if you are the chief technical officer for a startup, you can't go and become the chief technical officer for a competing startup. Although even that is shoddy at best, because my skill set makes me the perfect candidate for that. And your proprietary knowledge of whatever processes you have do absolutely nothing for me unless we are directly competing and selling the exact same products. And even if we're directly competing and selling the exact same products, it's on you to make sure you have a better product and a better market plan and a better strategy. So all this does is hold wages down and make it so people have a harder time finding new work if they start to disagree with a company. Well, Texas gonna Texas, because that's what they do there. One of the favorite federal jurisdictions for frivolous lawsuits, because they have no anti-SLAPP legislation there, just struck down Biden's non-compete because, and let me find the exact quote here. She found the rule to be arbitrary and capricious because it was unreasonably overbroad. The organization that brought this lawsuit, the judge said it would cause irreparable harm to the organizations that it affected. So basically, if we can't maintain employees, it would cause us irreparable harm. Well, then it sounds like you need to pay your employees better. If your business model doesn't exist because you have to follow the law and pay competing wages, your business model shouldn't exist. Period. If your business model relies on, sweat factory workers in China, you're a shitty business. Or you're just exploiting them. So, learn to compete. Might mean you need to charge higher prices. Might mean your business model doesn't make sense because you have to pay your employees, but I guess your business model doesn't make sense then. But the law firm that brought the suit, their only reasoning for bringing the suit was companies would find it difficult to maintain talent. That is the quote. This isn't based in law. This isn't a ruling that was struck down because there's something in the Constitution or state or federal legislation that states that, oh no, these agreements are in fact legal. It's simply, won't you think of the tiny little conglomerates? And that just pisses me off.
I mean, I don't know too much about this. I know like certain non-compete clauses. I mean, I'm sure you and I within the world of tech and stuff have probably signed a certain fair share of certain ones. The ones I have usually like you cannot, it wasn't at least the three I have signed were never, you can't go into the same industry. It was this specific industry with this specific field using our specific data type of a thing. It was, oh yeah, you're programming. That's fine. Go ahead and do this. But you can't program for our competitor. Right. Well, you can, but you can't do it for, 90 days.
Right.
It's something along that lines. It's not. So if it is a non-compete of, hey, you're going to go to, you cannot for the next 5 years or a lifetime. Yeah, that's pretty outrageous if that is the claim. Like I said, I don't know, but if that's the claim of saying, or even a year, and like you're saying, you just can't program for any gaming company, and when your expertise is software development for a gaming system, yeah, then it is going to be kind of hard to do something. You can't just sit there and develop a game in the background or as a hobby, and then 1 year later you got to do something for that year.
Right.
So yeah, I just don't know too much about this. So
yeah,
but
I have never had to sign a non-compete. I've signed a number of NDAs, which I have no problem with NDAs. You cannot disclose proprietary processes. I've done this for my employer. I've done this for companies I've done work for here on the channel, for review companies and whatnot. And we talked a little bit about NDAs last week, about The Verge and Tom being a douche about all of that. NDAs, I think, are fine, especially when they're very specific. When they say, let's say you're AMD and you are developing your next 2 or 3 generations of hardware. It is perfectly reasonable to contract an employee with an NDA that says if you go work for a competitor, you will not disclose our roadmap or any details within. You will not disclose hardware information. That's protecting company secrets. A non-compete means I can't take my talent as a hardware developer and go work as a hardware developer.
Yeah.
That's a different thing entirely.
Yeah, no, all of mine were, you cannot work in this exact field, as in you can be a programmer. You cannot work with our exact competitor doing the exact same thing you were doing here until a certain number of days. And I didn't even have to sign an NDA for those. It was just, hey, you just can't do that one aspect. It's like, oh, but again, I'm a custom software developer. So it was, yeah, I have multiple clients or whatever it is, I could easily see that if that is the case. Yeah, that's a shark dick move. Someone did say in the chat, who was it, that it's a state by state issue. They said Florida non-compete has like 0 weight. Who said that? Someone said that, but
right.
But I don't know if that's a thing.
There are certain states that already have it outlawed, but the federal mandate is that it is not outlawed. Biden had signed an executive order that stated non-competes are no longer valid. A company cannot ask you to not work for a competitor. It cannot be in a contract, and contracts are all civil matters, by the way. But he made it essentially illegal for companies to include NDAs in their contracts. A federal judge, because of, won't you think of the poor corporations and conglomerates, struck it down because, well, it would be difficult for people to retain talent. Just think of the economy if we couldn't pay low wages to people and basically force them to use their talents for us, instead of using their talents to better themselves.
Well, that's what the judge said, but is that what the suit was about?
That's what the suit was about. The suit, suit said it would be difficult to maintain talent, and the judge ruled that it would cause irreparable harm to companies if they weren't able to file non-competes.
So is it NDAs or non-competes?
Non-competes is the issue here. NDAs, and I'm totally fine with NDAs, because that itself is protecting trade secrets.
Yeah, because you would sit there and think, as long as there's an NDA in place, and someone left, because that's what the whole non-compete part is for. You don't want essentially trade secrets going out,
right?
And if you found that they did do that, or at least enough evidence to question it, that should be enough weight right then and there. Although, yeah, I mean, the
argument is, John, you do web and in-house app development.
Yeah.
If I told you, John, you are free, of course, to explore other opportunities, but if your role with a new company will be in-house web and app development, You are not allowed to do that because we trained you with our company dollars to be able to do this skill. So technically, we own your skill.
Yeah,
That's what's at issue here.
well.
You
Let me
you
ask.
can't use your experience as a developer to go get another developer job.
Yeah. Well, what if? And like I said, I'm just I skimmed the article. I was busy at work. It was 4:45, and it was like, oh, notes. Click, 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 click. Let me read. Uh, yeah. I mean, hmm. My curiosity is more of, yeah, you're saying they're training, and I don't think the training is the value, but if they did understand the resources, and then it would be more of, I could see something maybe along the line, because I don't think the NDA would do anything to it, of like, say, if it was like, say, a YouTube channel, and I was stealing all of your clients or your resources, your contacts, and I said, well, I'll do it for half, and I'm better at it than Jeff is, because I worked for Jeff and I know how he did it.
Right.
I can do it the exact same way, and I'm going to steal all of your resources from you, because I'm the person who made those contacts between, Jeff Craft Computing and that contact, and they're going to follow me instead. So now the company loses those contacts.
Here's my counterpoint. Here's my
Okay.
counterpoint to that. If you as an employee are that valuable to the company, and me as the employee have said, hey, I'm bringing you 50 sales contracts per month, and I have earned the respect of the people that I clientele with, and I'm directly relating this to sales because I know your industry. So a salesman goes, hey, I have contacted these people. I have brought them on board. I have sold them on our products. Yeah. And I have approached management and said, I want higher commission, and I want a raise, and I want a company car. And they said, no. You weren't willing to pay for what I bring your company. So fuck you, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
That's what the crux of this issue is if the employer goes, well, you're definitely worth that. I'm going to go ahead and pay you that to keep you on board, to keep the contracts. If the employee isn't worth paying for what he delivers the company, then he can go somewhere else and he can deliver that to that company.
Well, there is an opposite side to that, and I'm just going with the sales too. I can agree with you, and that is if the employer is a stand-up person. Now, the employer could just be a jerk, a jackass, and sit there and be like, I brought on all these clients and I'm making this much money. And I want to be a jerk all day. And yeah, I bring in money, but I just don't really care about this company. Guess what? I want to raise. Give it to me. If not, I'm taking my stuff and going out.
Right.
But
then it's still up to the employer of whether or not the clientele that they've built up and the work that they do is worth paying them what they're asking for. And if it's not, they can piss right off and they can go to another company. And if they take four contracts with it, that's the cost of doing business. But if it's your top salesman and it's asking for a raise, and you go, no, I'm really satisfied with just paying you the $80,000 that we agreed. And and by the way, you can't go do sales for another company because I'm afraid you would take sales from us. Well, obviously, he's worth more than $80K, but you're not willing to pay it, right?
Yeah, sure. But I could also say, I don't know what the terms of the non-compete would be. Obviously, if something sat there and stated for life, that is one thing. If it said you couldn't compete for, I don't know, whatever, 6 months, that's different. Every field is different.
Who has 6 months worth of savings? How many people on this planet have 6 months worth of savings to float between jobs?
But I said every field is different.
Right.
Every circumstance is not black and white. And so I don't know. And like I said, I don't know enough about this. So this is my brain going off of right here and right now.
Right.
So, but yeah.
But again, this comes down to pay your employees what they're worth. If they're truly bringing that much value to your organization, they deserve the money that you would afford to lose if they left.
Look, I agree with that statement. That I can do. Yeah. We can at least agree on that common ground right now.
Yeah.
No, and then if you don't go out and find it, really you should, but
Right.
actually be worth that. Don't just sit there and I think I'm worth this much. You know, there's a lot of people like I think I'm worth this because of just look at me. Yeah,
But
but you
again-
don't actually
But
bring
again,
anything.
But again, as an employer, if an employee approaches me and goes, "I bring you all this money, blah blah blah, and I deserve more money," and I go, "Yeah, but you're a dick to work with, and you don't really earn all that much. I'm not going to pay you. You're welcome to go work somewhere else."
Yeah.
However,
exactly.
that's what the non-competes are for. The non-competes are for your high value employees who you think bring more than their worth to the company, and you don't want to pay them more because that would offset the ratio of employee or employer purchased yachts and sports cars to to
see the
worker
only,
compensation.
See, a way I could see a non-compete actually being effective is if like you hired a specific specialist to work on a product that is about to come out that you're like beta testing or you know, this is
Get
the
us
next
across
release.
the finish line.
Yeah, or something. And then halfway through, they know everything, and they're like, by the way, I'm going to go take this to your competitor right now, unless you pay me more. See, there's that aspect as they use it as a threat.
But see, they couldn't do that because they would have to sign an NDA for our product. And that's where the NDA comes in. The NDA says you can take your talent elsewhere, but you cannot use knowledge of our internal processes and structures and products.
So then I want to know, though, what is the difference, or what is the in court, the process of how long it would take a company to recoup that, to sue the other company after the NDA. So if it was truly all it was just an NDA, you couldn't tell the information.
Well, now we're getting into trademark and copyright violations.
Yeah. But then how long does that? Well, so how long does that take? How often did that happen before this policy came into place? At least the idea of, you know, a non-compete policy, and then the corporation, one corporation loses money, where the individual who's doing it still becomes wealthy, and then the competing company becomes, or you know, makes a profit. And then how long does that suit happen, which then could lose that company, whether it is a mom and pop company or a multi-trillion-dollar company, profit.
How many of the major companies and semiconductor organizations has Jim Keller worked for in the last 10 years?
I don't know.
The father of modern semiconductor infrastructure and design. Like, he's responsible for Intel Core and Zen, both. Both of the modern architectures that run x86. And he swung from one company to the other. And
again, that's one person versus, you know, a broad, and he might be an honorable guy, and the other people, you know, 99% of people could be total assholes.
Right. But that's the difference between a non-compete and an NDA. An NDA says you cannot use internal knowledge that we have developed to go out and start another company or develop a product that's identical to ours.
Sure.
And you cannot use,
But the time frame between that company figuring it out, or if they went and worked for, okay, let's go with Intel and AMD, you know, they worked for that, they switched, and then AMD was like, we are on the cusp of beating Intel. We just need that person's information. So they go to him and say, hey, we're going to pay you, you know, another 6 figures more than what Intel's paying you. Come to us, give us the trade secrets. We'll take care of all of your lawyer fees. We don't care. We're going to profit. Intel takes the hit. AMD is like, yeah, we were the first ones to do it anyways. So there we go.
But that's not how that works. It's really not. Yeah. The point is, you as an individual have the talents that you have the experience that you have. You are worth something.
I agree. Like I said, I agree with the whole, if you're worth something,
right,
you believe you're worth that, and you feel yourself actually bring that to your company, and your company denies you that, you should go, and your company should have allow you to pursue that aspect and take your profits and your talents somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or they pay you what you're worth.
Right. Or if you want, Trick Logic just brought up, he thinks top level talent gets compensation for the non-compete period. If you want to have a non-compete in a contract, that's fine. If you want to have a 12-month or a 24-month non-compete, you cannot go work for one of our competitors. Here's the list of competitors.
Pay me a year on top.
We will continue your salary through that point. Fine, pay me not to work. That's fine with me, and that's an amicable agreement. What's not an amicable agreement is you cannot use your lifetime of work and experience to go work in the field that you work in, because it would hurt our little fifis. It would hurt our feelings and everything else. Signing an NDA, that's fine. Signing a can't talk about it, can't develop, X product in X way, that's totally fine. Saying you can't even go work, that's not okay.
Yeah, no, I'd go with See, that would be something to make into law. I'd be like, if you're going to sign a non-compete for whatever length it is, you have to pay that employee their salary. Now, do that into law. There we go. I like that. Let's do that one instead.
Deschutes Brewery, Bend, Oregon, Obsidian Stout.
Classic.
I had the Black Butte Porter this last week. I realized it had been like 4 years since I've had either of these beers. And so I picked up a couple 6-packs because they're amazing.
Well, is it the Obsidian or Black Butte? I think it's Black Butte that has the non-alcoholic version.
Yes, they do now.
I want to try that. I haven't had that one yet.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but it's on my list.
See, yours has got a nice looking head.
Right?
Everything. It's got a great color, great head.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, like a 6.5?
6.4, yes.
6. Yeah. So that's a great looking beer for 6.4.
It really is. There's a reason these are classic brews. Yeah. There's a reason these are so highly thought of and even sought after, even though they're just, we make them every day.
Yeah.
They're just amazing. Yeah, Black Butte Porter, 5.2% or something like that. A beer you can literally drink almost all day long. Rich, hearty, roasty chocolate coffee. Just good.
I know. It's good. I mean, people sit there and like, Guinness is the stout forever. No, there's not. There's a lot of really good basic stouts out there that are just meaty and tasty and not water thin like a Guinness. I'm just like, the only good thing about a Guinness is the creamy head, and then everything else is like, it's okay.
Guinness tastes like skim milk to me.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. I remember growing up, and I don't know why, but everyone's always like, Guinness is super thick and heavy, and because again, the word stout comes in, and they always sit there and think stouts and dark beers are big, heavy beers. It's like, no, it's 4.2, 4.3%. It's a light beer. Budweiser is heavier than Guinness.
Anyway, moving right along, Valve is in the news this week because apparently they are banning Counter-Strike 2 players for using certain hardware in their games.
I saw this.
This is a new one.
Yeah.
This is a brave new world right here. So we're all aware of hardware augmentation when it comes to video gaming. For my generation, we're all well aware of Game Genies and Game Sharks. Yep. And buttons with turbo modes on them. Controllers with turbo modes.
Yeah, double click features.
Right. That you could enable or disable. So I had all sorts of controllers that had like turbo toggles or additional stacks of buttons for turbo. So if it was a shooting game, you could just hold in a button and it would go. This is an interesting argument. It really is, because while it does take a skill ceiling out of the game, is it any more advantageous to run one of these devices than it is, say, a professional level mouse or something like that? Let me explain.
See, I think I know where you're going. I think I already agree with you.
Yeah. Valve is banning Counter-Strike 2 players for using Razer and Wooting keyboards with automation in Counter-Strike 2. So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Razer and Wooting have both come out with essentially macro-enabled keyboards, but they are very specifically designed. So if you enable, you can basically design profiles for different games or download preset profiles for different games, for like Counter-Strike 2. And one of the main uses of this is strafing. So your A and your D key on your WASD keyboard design, you're sliding side to side. When you strafe in Counter-Strike, there is an acceleration period and there is a deceleration period. During the deceleration period, you are floating until you stop. It's a subtle stop. With these keyboards, when you strafe, it is counter keying in the opposite direction to make you stop on a dime. To make, as soon as you release the key, it's a hard lock.
Yeah.
Which means your reaction time to acquire a target and the actual acquisition of a target can be faster. It's interesting that they're banning such hardware because they're defining what a keystroke is at a very finite level. Like, if you really break this down, they're defining what a key press is instead of defining what a game movement is. And they're saying that if you're running one of these keyboards, or if you're playing on a keyboard and mouse, that as a player, you should be able to develop the skill to back key, to counter steer, essentially, your player. And that's what the skill ceiling is. And now that there's a hardware device that essentially has taken the guesswork out of that, that is now a banned device. Now, in sports, we ban devices all the time. If anyone remembers, God, what was it, the 2012 Olympics in swimming? There was a new suit. The suits from Speedo that broke like every world record in the course of 3 weeks. Yeah, those suits are banned now. Because they were essentially hydrophobic and slipstreaming through the water. The world records still stand, and most of those world records have fallen in since years. But up to that point, those suits came out, and every world record was set. So,
but this is different though, because to me, this is a faultiness in programming versus hardware. Where something physical like a sport, that is, the
different direction I thought you were going to go. But go on. No, that's good.
So this to me is actually, they're complaining of the limitations of their programming. They basically are saying our code sucks so much. This keyboard found a way around it. This feature found a way around it that lets noobs be better than pros. And this game is still so popular, we have to ban it, else we will be irrelevant. That's my take on this. Is almost like the first introduction. We're giving a bunch of noobs really good DPI mouses, and the pros still get your your trackball ones,
Right.
type of thing. That's essentially what this is. But we all know in 3 years this will be figured out in software. Not even 3 years, 2 years, a year and a half. You know, some form of code will fix this because it'll be auto done. But they're just complaining right now.
Right.
That's my opinion on this.
Yeah. The argument for banning these types of devices is it's pay to win. It's a $130 keyboard that gives you a tactical and strategic advantage against the players you're playing against. It's pay to win. But where do we define the level of pay to win in competitive online gaming or esports gaming when, well, so's a higher refresh rate monitor, and so's a faster processor, and so's a higher DPI mouse, and so's a mechanical keyboard, and so's this, and so's that, so's the chair, so's the headset, so's the ass cushion on his seat. Everything in sports is pay to win, regardless of what sport you're in. Some tiers are higher than others, for sure. But you know, every tennis player at Wimbledon gets a racket designed for them by whoever designs the rackets. Like, at what level is it not pay to win? Every sport is pay to win. Where's your threshold? And apparently the threshold is a keyboard that will auto decelerate for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know what side of the fence I'm going to land on this. I really don't, because part of me looks at esports as a whole, and sure, organized tournaments have standardized hardware that players have to play on, and if you're playing live, and that's it, right? You know, if you go to an esports tournament, you're not playing on your PC, you're playing on the provided PC. And that's part of the sport, and that's the established rules. But in an open online game,
that's literally like playing in the NBA versus playing street ball. You know, of like, there's no refs at street ball, and there's no real rules. It's you call it as you go. And you know, the NBA, you got refs, you got rules, you got things you can and cannot do. And yeah, see, that's the thing, is they shouldn't ban this for just the everyday user, the everyday, you know, oh, we're hosting, someone's hosting the game, or a couple of tournaments, local tournaments or whatever. But if it is a Play store or ePlay event, something, then yes, you should say hardware. This, I mean, I believe they do that with all types of hardware. So just say, yeah, you can't use this. And so all professional people will not want to play it. I don't know how many professional players are in the open world tournaments too, just playing randomly with people, because I mean, I'm sure there probably are, in a sense, where they know the groups that they're going to be playing with. So they probably know, okay, this is a fair world. But how many people are out there just hacking away at something with some mod, some form of a hack, some special keyboard? But at the same time, it's a video game. It literally is a video game. This is entertainment. We're supposed to be able to do that. There's no difference than someone putting extra hardware on their car to soup it up. I'm souping up my computer so I can play and I can have fun. And this is just a dumb excuse from the company to ban this keyboard. And I'll guarantee you, in a year and a half, this will all be gone.
Rinto says in the Discord chat, these new keyboards feel like using N key rollover to abuse jank in game code. And I said, program the game movement to honor momentum, and the problem is solved. That means these keyboards are useless. The problem is
that's what I was saying.
Your input shaping for movement directly violates the momentum in the game. So if you want your player to come to a gradual stop, regardless of the opposite direction, you need to allow that momentum to carry through. Don't recognize the new input until the old momentum has been canceled out. And sure, it sounds simple. I'm sure it's much more complicated than I'm making it.
Yeah.
But that prevents cheating entirely, rather than blaming the device.
Well, so I think what it is probably, like I was saying earlier, it's a programming error. And I believe people were using the input of the keyboard as a crutch instead of actually program it, because the way older keyboards work is that draw, that lengthiness of lifting your finger off of I'm going with mechanical keyboards,
Right.
off the key. And so you have milliseconds of time delay.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you're drawing out, where this essentially gets rid of that completely. Now, if you try to counterbalance that in software, now your older keyboards could ruin that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, like you're saying, it's a lot of technical stuff. And like I said, this is now just laziness on the game maker side, basically saying our software, our coding is inferior versus the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be too much for us to fix this in a patch. So we'll just ban you. It's much easier for us because less people will complain.
And look, I'm not even necessarily saying the devs are lazy. It might be the game engine restricts such types of inputs.
Yeah. True.
Where the game engine is designed to recognize multi-direction inputs. And if you type both directions at the same time, it doesn't know how to handle that, or it starts applying both directions at the same time, which is kind of what this keyboard does. The keyboard, when you release a key, it applies both directions simultaneously and basically counteracts your momentum.
Yeah.
The game engine may not be able to compensate for that. But does that mean the player is wrong for utilizing that mechanic? Or does that mean the game engine, that's just the way the engine works?
Yeah.
Which is it?
No, I mean, that's like using an old game and using a really good DPI mouse, and it's going to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
You are using a modern mouse on Doom or Duke Nukem 3D, and it's any slight movement, you're just going to be at the very top.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was used 100 DPI mice. Here I'm coming in with a 13,000 motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just going to freak out. And you're just like, I didn't even touch it. It's the vibration of just the desk and my fan that I'm using or whatever, that my mouse is so sensitive. Yeah. And hardware now might be accelerating faster than the world that these games are being built in. So I think it's a good thing. I think at this moment, actually, here's the other thing I thought of. One of two things. One, I want to buy one of these to just crush on my nephews, like just obliterate them and be like, boom, I'm the boss, type of a thing. Like, I told you I was a pro. I could have done it back in the, that's one of the things. But I also think that, but it does give that, there is a joy of being good at a game and having, being young and being like, I was beaten on for so long, and now I got this new piece of hardware and keyboard. Now I'm doing great. There's a bit of encouragement in there to push someone's, imagination.
Yeah.
So whether that is in hardware, whether that is in esports or just anything, of that, if I try for better things and I upgrade my hardware, I can succeed. I mean, that's a stretch right there in a idealism, what I'm trying to say, but I don't, it's this article is just painting it so black. I really hated this article.
Look, this is always a cat and mouse game of hardware features versus game developers. And I'm not saying lazy versus incompetent versus cheating versus, whatever adjective you want to put on either party. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is, if there's an advantage to be found in game that doesn't technically break the rules, of course gamers are going to exploit that. I've reviewed monitors on this channel which will superimpose a crosshair on your screen so it will find dead center. Or you can set the crosshair wherever you want depending on the game that you're playing. So if your game doesn't provide you with a crosshair, or maybe the crosshair dynamically expands while you're shooting to give you the spread. You can maintain your center of balance and still center up on whatever you're trying to hit. Is that a bannable mechanic, having a monitor with a built-in crosshair? I don't think that's any more bannable than someone taking a Sharpie and putting a dot in the center of their screen. It gave me an advantage in the game, but it's not technically against the rules.
Yeah.
So where does the keyboard land?
No, yeah, I don't know. I like this. I like the keyboard. I don't like what Valve is doing. Although, here's the thing though. Valve is not banning them from Steam. They're just banning them from this game. So that's what they're trying to say. And this is where the Counter-Strike 2 game.
Rev had the exact same thought about 10 seconds after I said it. But then it came through in chat. He goes, screw that. I just use a Sharpie.
Just puts it on the center, measures it. There we go. Good to go.
Right, exactly. And so it's like, what is cheating versus what is ingenuity versus what is strategic decisions versus everything else? Gamers are always going to try to find an advantage. I mean, look at the speedrunning communities and find the jank and the cheesing that they do in those communities. And of course, they're not intended by the developer. They're exploiting glitches nonstop. But at the same time, they're still 100% skill-based. Yeah. So what's the rub there?
No. Actually, how much are these keyboards?
They're like 130. The Razer.
That's standard pro level.
I mean, for a good mechanical keyboard, yeah, they're about on par.
On par. Maybe. Speaking of gaming, there's another article about games.
Yes.
Borderlands.
Yes, there is, if I could find it. Yes. I put both these articles up because it's like the duality of man and gaming culture all in one crispy nougat. It's amazing. So this was both one of the greatest moves ever for like PR and to appease a fan base, as well as one of the worst simultaneously, and I am here for it. Borderlands, you're aware they made a movie, right?
I remember there's some CGI thing they made. Yeah, I thought it was a commercial, but okay, it was a movie.
Borderlands made a movie. One sec. God, who is in it? Cate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Bobby Lee, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, like names.
Okay.
Names, yeah. Right? All of them miscast. Like, the Vault Hunters are supposed to be like these 20-something-year-old, daredevil, out for the thrill of finding the vault. And instead, they took the characters and were like, no. Jamie Lee Curtis and Kevin Hart, you totally embody the Gen Z vibe of Borderlands.
Oh yeah. What? Yeah, everyone in pushing 50 plus, there you go, Gen Z. That's our crowd.
When I picture Roland for Borderlands is one of my favorite gaming series of all time. Story heavy, it is not. But when I picture Roland from Borderlands, I picture a gruff military trained I wouldn't do that way kind of guy.
Oh my god.
What we got is Kevin Hart as himself.
A 5'5" jokester.
Right. No offense to Kevin Hart. I'm sure you're wonderful, but a less intimidating figure you could not have found. As far as Cate Blanchett playing Lilith. I love Cate Blanchett. I also love Lilith, and you are not Lilith.
Yeah.
The whole vibe of this was taking the environment, taking characters that you know, and basically like making it a rescue film. We need to rescue Tiny Tina, and so they contracted Kate Blanchett, who was Lilith's character. Lilith's supposed to be like some 28-year-old, siren. Instead, they turned her into a bounty hunter who repeatedly says, essentially, I'm too old for this. And that's her entire personality.
So they went with the what is it, Lethal Weapon or was it Lethal Weapon? No, yeah.
No, yeah, Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's her entire personality when it should be 28-year-old go-getter, adventurer, rogue type. No, instead we get the gristled, but not gristled, combat vet bounty hunter. One last job and I can turn it all in and walk away.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Hart, good lord.
No, they should have like casted a bunch of no-name 29-year-olds and spent the rest of the money on script and CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially of like, okay, look, we don't know who these people are because Borderlands is supposed to be a saga.
Mm-hmm.
So we want these people to be young so we can do multiple movies with them,
Right.
But no, let's cast a bunch of old people.
Right.
Not saying they're old, but
they're old. I mean,
they're old.
Look, no offense to these people, but they know the birth year, right? Like Jamie Lee Curtis as Dr. Tannis. Dr. Tannis is supposed to be like 24. Jamie Lee Curtis, last I checked, is not 24. She wasn't 24 when I was born, and I'm not 24.
Yeah.
So, yeah, odd casting choices all around. Apparently, the producers and the director have all stated publicly they've never played or even seen the game. So they basically just took the characters and their general, like, one-paragraph biopics and whatnot. Let's make a movie off of this.
So this was essentially the typical Hollywood video game adaptation movie.
Yeah.
We know nothing about it. Here's a blatant story. I'm going to put my own spin on it.
Right. Yeah. It's and bad. It was built on a bad premise. It's awful. Yeah, everything about this is horrible. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about now. Right now what we're talking about is because this movie flopped so freaking hard, 120 something million dollar budget, it's going to be lucky to pull 20 million from box office. They're going to be $100 million upside down on this movie. Apparently 3 weeks after their theatrical release, they're already moving to streaming because they need more money. It's that bad. And look, I love Borderlands. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises.
18.6 million so far.
Yeah, 18.6, 120 million spent.
Ouch.
Yeah.
With those names, because those are so, I mean, in actual terms, there are big names in there.
Kate Blanchett, Jack Black, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart. Like, it's got some power behind it.
Yeah. Those are all six-figure names, probably.
Awful. Yeah. Those are all 7 or 8-figure names, which explains the budget of the movie. Anyway, so after just 2 weeks, Randy Pitchford, CEO of Epic Games and owner of the Borderlands franchise, 2K Games, has announced Borderlands 4. Basically setting the entire franchise fandom at ease. Don't worry, we know the movie sucked. There's a new video game coming out, and it's gonna be great. And as a day one buyer of everything except Tiny Tina, because it was exclusive to the Epic Store, so I waited 6 months and 1 day until it was on Steam. I'm a day one buyer of this. I love the Borderlands franchise. Again, it's not story heavy, it's environment driven. It's It's specific character and side quest driven. That there's no overlapping story that I'm coming back to. It's the absurdity of it all that I want to see, which is great. But yeah, damage control at its finest. What happens when your movie flops? Let's announce that we're coming out with a video game, and don't worry, it's all going to be okay. But the hilarious thing is the self-own that came because of this. So, Randy Pitchford, CEO of Epic Games. Epic Games owns the rights to 2K games and the Borderlands franchise as a whole. When Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out, it was an Epic Games exclusive for 6 months. Because they were propping up the inevitable death of the Steam Valve monopoly, right? Remember 5 years ago when Epic Games started and Randy Pitchford was all about like, no, Steam's going to be forgotten in the past. We're giving developers their capacity to earn money back. We're not going to be this flash in the pan. It's going to be great, right? Well, as it turns out, simply giving games away and not having a financial solution is not a great solution to running a game store, as they're kind of finding out. So Borderlands 4 came with a series of announcements. It's going to be available on PlayStation 5, on Xbox One, Series X, Series S. It's also coming to Steam on day one. Because of course it is. Because that's where you sell games at, Randy.
Jeez. Well, there you go. Oh, wrong button. Oops. Jeez.
I still don't have an Epic Game Store account, and I probably never will.
I think I had one 8-10 years ago, maybe.
No, it's not that old.
That.
Epic Game Store is 5 years old.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Epic Game Store is only 5 years old.
No, I could have swore I bought a game.
I mean, I know it's been 8 years since the pandemic started, so I understand your trepidation.
No, what is the other one? What did Assassin's Creed move to?
There's EA and Origin.
I think it's EA.
There's Uplay with Ubisoft.
Oh my gosh, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. That's the one. Oh god, that was horrible too.
But no, Epic Game Store is only 5 years old. It came out in 2019.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I don't actually have an Epic Game Store account. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Anyone I've ever talked to, they have Epic Game Store accounts because you got free swag for having an Epic Game Store account. You got a monthly free game. And sometimes they were pretty good games. Most of the time, I already own them on Steam because I've also been on Steam for 20-something years. Actually, I think my current Steam account was 2007. So, 2007. 17 years. But, yeah, like, Epic Game Store from the start didn't seem to have a great financial plan. Like, let's pay companies to publish exclusives in which we will never make back the monetary value that we're paying these companies. Let's also pay companies to give games away for free that are 3, 4, 5 years old, which at that point in a game's lifespan, most people who have ever bought the game have already bought the game. There's not a bunch of XKCD 5-year hangover guys that are out there. Like, I know they are out there, and I tend to be one of them. If a game is like, it only mildly piques my curiosity, I definitely wait for a Steam sale. I definitely wait for it to hit GOG. But this thought that you're going to overthrow a highly successful and highly supported and not hated in any sense of the word game store by simply giving gamers one 5-year-old game per month and giving developers 20% instead of 30%. How did you possibly think that was going to work out?
I was about to comment too.
Sorry, mod chat is popping off. Yeah. So, but I love the absolute marketing win simultaneously coming with the absolute marketing loss, because this comes on the 5-year anniversary of him saying Valve's gonna go out of business. They don't even make games anymore. Who do they think they are? No one's gonna be buying from Valve in 5 years. It's all gonna be about Epic Games. And seemingly he had no financial plan. And we're seeing that now, because suddenly Borderlands 4 is going to be a launch title on Steam.
Magically.
Yeah.
I know. Oh man. Honestly, what they should do is actually embrace the hatred, go with meme images. A lot of that stuff actually works, really. If you self-own yourself, a lot of times that actually works for game companies and brings, essentially any type of news is good news because it brings brand awareness.
Right.
I would almost do that. And I know so many CEOs and corporations are like, no, we didn't do this. Like, honestly, if you can laugh at yourself, your own base will love you more and fortified with you. And you would probably bring in, another 10% with you. Be like, yeah, that's funny that they can do something like that. Be like, yeah, our movie sucked. Check out this shitty game. That's actually probably going to be a really good game. But on the fourth installment is going to be, and look what we had to do to help out from how bad our movie was. We had to release it to all this other things. Something along that line. I mean, that's not funny, but, just ridiculousness to that. I'm sure they probably have a brand ambassador, like every major company like that probably already does, to do things like that. I don't know. I don't like it when they take things too seriously. I like companies that can easily poke fun of themselves. But yeah, man, I wonder what level of flop the movie is going to hit on the radar of, in your mind, what was the best video game adaptation movie?
Oh.
I have my own personal opinion on this one, and it's very nostalgic.
Final Fantasy.
Oh, sorry, live action. Let me go with that. Live action.
Okay, cheater.
No,
because you knew what the answer was.
I guess live action. That's a great ending. Live action. We're not Advent. Wait. Are you talking Advent Children, or are you talking the Final Fantasy VII one?
I'm talking Advent Children.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Graphics for the time, amazing.
Yeah.
For Advent Children. Oh my gosh.
You knew what the answer was.
Yeah, but okay. So, live action video game adaptation to movie. What's your best?
Honestly, the newest Mario Brothers movie has probably got to be tops.
Well, that's animated though. That's animated.
It's still animated.
It's animated. That's not live action. That's animated. That's a cartoon. Now, if you said Sonic, if you said Sonic, I would give you Sonic because that's live action.
I think you're splitting hairs there because it's still a narrative-driven story.
No. Okay.
Live action is difficult. Look, we have what? We have Warcraft. We have technically Mario Brothers. We have Resident Evil. We have there are what was the there's a couple Reverend says Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu, that's true.
Yeah.
So that one wasn't horrible.
And by the way, Mario Brothers was not entirely animated. It was also partially live action. Remember, they got sucked into the world.
Okay. Well, yeah, there were. Oh, okay. All right. Sure. All right, I'll give you that part. No, I still find someone said the latest Mortal Kombat. No, the first Mortal Kombat is the best
The first Mortal Kombat's
live.
pretty good.
The first Mortal Kombat is the best live adaptation of a video game. That is, I'm sorry, it just nostalgia. I don't care, but man, for what is it, 93, 95 ish,
5, yeah.
something like that. It's like, my
Maybe
gosh,
96, but yeah, somewhere right
but
in there.
they did that right, and they even changed. They forced the video game to adapt to them because it was so good with the soundtrack. And it was like, oh, so good. And then the second one butchered it.
I'm gonna piss you off right now and just say The Witcher.
It's okay. You know what? A couple episodes are really good, though.
A couple episodes are really freaking good.
A couple episodes are really good. Yep. Second season's horrible. Third season, whatever they're coming out with, it's probably gonna be worse. But yeah, that's not a bad. But it's not a movie. Yeah. That's a show.
It's a show. It's still a live adaptation.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know the answer is Final Fantasy. You know the answer is Final Fantasy.
Oh, I will. It didn't feel like a Final Fantasy movie, but the graphics were like, oh my God, this is so great. Mm-hmm. Billions of hairs. It was like the first movie with like a billion hair count on a single character or something like that.
The music,
really, yeah. But yeah, no, I there's a lot of good stuff in it. Anyone in chat say it, but we'd like to discuss it. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, no, when I read this article and I was like, oh, Borderlands had a movie, because I swear I thought it was like a TV show, like a short 3-episode of TV show that came out a year ago. I think I even told my wife, why did they do this? Because it was like an Amazon TV show. Shows you how much I was paying attention to it. But just like I was sitting there thinking back of like all of the video game adaptation movies have just been horror. Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia. Man, there's so many of just horrible, and they just do them wrong all the time, right? Best video game movie adaptation. Oh, Uncharted. Oh my gosh, Uncharted was horrible. I made my wife watch that, and she was even like, this is bad. Tomb Raider. I mean, that the early 2000s one kind of brought some.
Tomb Raider with Angelina was pretty freaking good.
I was gonna say that was the one that brought people into.
That's such a good answer.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
My favorite scene out of Tomb Raider is Angelina Jolie and Daniel Craig accent swapping, because Daniel Craig plays like a Texan and Angelina Jolie is supposed to be like a learned British Tomb Raider, and so they're in a scene together, and so Daniel Craig's trying to do the Southern draw Texas accent, and Angelina's trying to do that sophisticated, that's one of the funniest scenes of all time.
Yeah. Friday Nights at Freddy was horrible. DOA, that was the one I was thinking was really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We got the new Mortal Kombat. Rampage with The Rock. That was not a video game adaptation. That was like, we're just saying it's a video game adaptation.
Yeah.
Hitman were horrible.
I
didn't like it.
I liked the one with Timothy Olyphant. I did. Was it great? No. But I like that movie. I don't think Timothy Olyphant was the right fit for Agent 47. But I think the grittiness of that movie, the tone of that movie, the overall story, I think that was an absolutely perfect fit. And no offense to Timothy Olyphant, he's an amazing actor. He wasn't quite the right choice. Yeah, he doesn't have that serious machismo when he really needs it. Like when he gets angry, he looks like a frustrated teenager instead of like someone you should be afraid of.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my only criticism of that movie.
It was almost like, it's not that he's not a bad actor. He's not a bad actor.
Right.
I don't, maybe it could have just been his way to take it in his direction, similar to like a director doesn't know how to do this. Oh, there was the
I
need for
think it was
speed.
I think it was just Timothy Olyphant. And again, no offense to Timothy Olyphant. I think you're a phenomenal actor. I absolutely love you. But it's watching a teenager get frustrated. It's the girl in the movie who she decided she was like going to go to breakfast or something like that, and he goes, "No, you can't do that."
Yeah.
You know, and so that was his reaction, and then he locked her in a trunk, and it's like, yeah, that's totally something Hitman would do. That's totally something 47 would do. But it's not the right facial expression. That's not the it's not the direction that you go with that character.
He is more of a
He looked
lovable
angsty.
he's more of a lovable charmer guy of like the charming dark cowboy.
I loved him as the sheriff in Book of Boba Fett. I loved him as the villain in Live Free or Die Hard. You know, he's got some amazing roles behind him, and he's always done them perfectly well. He was not the greatest fit for that film.
No. He almost had too much swag.
Yeah.
In a sense. There was, because you got to be a straight guy to play that guy.
You have to be straight. Right.
You have to be straight, and he had too much swag. His smile in itself is almost that too big of a grin of a smile, and you know, it's like, oh, you're really great for all these other roles. It's like this one
also
not so much
physically.
Yeah,
his shoulders just are not broad enough for that role.
No.
like if we're being real. Again, Timothy, if you're watching, love you, man.
No, I don't know how the Resident Evil saga kept going. I really don't.
Well, Kate Beckinsale.
Sure, but they like sold it on this, you know, I mean, yeah, okay. But yeah, right? Okay. But like,
are you complaining?
I mean, the suits got tighter through every series, so no, not really. But the story got dumber and dumber and dumber.
Of course it did.
And it was like, okay, it's not the video game adaptation. It's like, hey, in Hollywood, sex sells. It's sexy girl and zombies. And a lot of blood and gore.
Think about the time that Resident Evil was made. This is coming on the heels of Matrix with Trinity,
that's true.
With what's her name?
This is so Fast and Furious, early 2000s. Yeah. I get that. I get that. But I guess I think what happens, I think what a lot of us do is with video game adaptations is people that play video games and that seriously play video games, or even semi-serious, there's a story. And the reason a video game takes 4, 5, 6 years to develop, there's a good story. There's good development behind it in graphics and everything. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind a really good video game. Sometimes there's funny ones like Sonic and Mario. Yeah, we just throw it together. But the Resident Evil, the Hitman, the Assassin's Creed, the Uncharted, the Tomb Raiders, there's story, there's character development within all of that stuff. And as players, and then they just create that and don't give us that. We feel very disappointed. This is very much similar to the Borderlands area of these characters. It's not very story driven, but you can then see within the game who these characters are. You understand the world around them, and they just flip-flopped it on us. Let's just throw a bunch of 40-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 70-year-olds that should have been this and have been in this world, when really it's these younger people trying to survive, and they have this attitude and complex issues within them. Nope, we're throwing that all out. You know, we're putting our own spin on it. And it's like, that's not what we liked about the game. And I think that's what Hollywood and everything get wrong with a lot of these live adaptations. Now, there are animated ones, like you said, the Mario ones. I think the Detective Pikachu gets into that too. You know, you can get even the Angry Birds, whatever. They're animated. You can do more funny, silly things because they're in a weird, non-realistic world environment.
Yeah.
Borderlands is still extreme, but still tries to have some physics within the rational world. A car crashes, a bullet flies, it does X amount of damage. Resident Evil, even though there's a zombie, it blows an arm off. There is, you're not expecting this. Well, actually, that's not true. There's a big bazooka in a lot of this stuff. I don't know. It's just the spirit behind it, I think, is lost in a lot of these movies. And I think that's why a lot of these flop, because the following behind these games, we really resonate with the story because we played them. And we're like, even my son right now, he's into a Final Fantasy game right now. And it's not this typical one. It's a hack and slash. It's Final Fantasy Crisis. It's like the prequel to 7. Core Crisis, I believe it's called. But the one thing, this is the one game he's following the story. And he's asking questions of, why is this character doing this? Why is this character doing this? I thought he was a good guy. Now he's a bad guy. Why did he turn that way? And if they now went and developed a movie on this, a live adaptation movie on this video game, he'd be like, this isn't, I mean, he might at this particular age be like, this is just cool. But, an older person would be like, that story is now completely different to what the video game adaptation was. It's to a lot of fans, it's really heart-reckoning type of thing. That's my personal opinion. There are a few that I think hit really true to the core. I think like the Sonic movies. I think the latest Mario animation, a lot of that adaptations are very good to the core. That's why I felt like the Mortal Kombat one. It was still, at the time, we had Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter come out roughly around the same time. Street Fighter was a mocking joke. Mortal Kombat kind of tried to take it seriously, tried to show as much gore as possible, just like the video game did, tried to be darker than Street Fighter, where it was very colorful. We're throwing jokes left and right. And there was this cool, for the time being 1996 or whatever, in the mid 90s, cool pounding soundtrack. Everything was kept to detail, skulls everywhere type of
so hold on Rento over on the Discord just says, I'm surprised we didn't cover the original Mario Brothers movie in the 90s. And I said, we did mention it. We did mention it, yeah. And they went, oh, I must have blanked out during that part. So I just went ahead and looked up Mario Brothers movie 1993. Oh my gosh, I find this insanely funny. And I think we'll end with this, okay?
All right, cool.
So, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Mario and Luigi. Legends of their own craft. Obviously, this is not probably the movie they want to be remembered for, but this is a movie that they were in. Same with Dennis Hopper. What's funny is when you look up Mario Brothers movie 1993, you get John Leguizamo, Luigi Mario, because there's the whole scene of, what's your name? Mario. Your last name? Mario. Well, what's your name? Luigi. What's your last name? Mario. So let me get this straight. You're Mario, and you're Luigi Mario. Yes, got it. So there's that whole scene. Anyway, you get John Leguizamo, Luigi. You get Bob Hoskins, Mario. You get Dennis Hopper as Bowser. And then you get Carlene Moore, who is listed as prostitute.
Yeah. Yes.
She's in front of Toad. The whore is in front of Toad. And that should not be as funny as it is, but that's Nintendo. That's their handiwork right there in 1993.
I like it.
What's your cast of characters? We've got Luigi, we've got Mario, we've got Bowser, and then we've got prostitute number 1.
That movie was so bad.
Yes. Oh God, I forgot Fisher Stevens was in it. Fisher Stevens is Iggy.
Oh yeah, Fisher Simmons and Iggy. They had Richard Edison as Spike Koopa. The Koopas were weird. Those giant lizard things or the toads. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. The dance sequence in the elevator.
Yeah.
Or the no, there was the dance sequence in the club that was even worse.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just bad.
Yeah. There's so much with that movie. You have to go see it if you haven't seen it. If you have never seen the 1993 Super Mario Brothers, you need to go watch that.
Definitely. It in itself, because of its flop, it's kind of classic.
It is kind of a classic. It's one of those ones. Unlike the Star Wars Holiday Special, it's one of those ones that is so bad it's good. It is good for a good night of drinking and laughing at classic television.
All right, so that was 93, Mortal Kombat 95.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we go. So 2 years later, so pretty much development. I'm betting someone heard development of the Mario Brothers movie, so they said we got to do Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
And yeah, no, first one I thought was great. Second one and everything after, or second one was horrible. Then they did a live adaptation like Power Ranger TV show. I don't know if you ever knew about that.
Oh yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. I think it lasted like one season. Yeah, no, horrible.
Get up, get on the floor. Everybody do the dinosaur. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you, Green.
It was like literally that's almost like Go Ninja Go for Ninja Turtle Super
Yes!
Vanilla Ice.
So I do have on my Plex server the Super Mario Brothers 3 Super Show.
Oh yeah.
Do the Mario, right?
Doing the Mario. Yeah, I have that. I have
The
a
Mario
few of those.
Power Hour. I also
Yeah.
have the full season of Zelda.
I was just gonna say I have that. I showed my son that, and he's like, "What is that? That's not who they're." And it's like, and he loves doing the "Excuse me, princess." Yeah, he loves doing that.
I introduced it to my son, and it's actually a show that he likes watching, so it's part of his rotation now. We've got Bubble Guppies, we've got Phineas and Ferb, we've got Wally Kazam, and we've got The Legend of Zelda, 1991.
The Legend of Zelda. Yep, there we go.
Oh, it's so good. It's so bad.
Yeah, I know. I should introduce my son to Gargoyles. It's like
Gargoyles. Yes.
It's Star Trek but Gargoyles.
That's one I need to add to my Plex server is Gargoyles.
Yeah. Here is evil Riker. This is the real evil Riker.
It did have, there was Michael Dorn, there was Marina Sirtis, and there was they had them all.
They had like 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. It was pretty good. There's rumors of someone said Battleship. Oh, that was a horrible movie.
Which one?
Battleship wasn't Battleship.
Oh God.
That's not even a video game, it's a board game adaptation.
Yeah. Goliath, voiced by Keith David. Yes.
Yes.
Goliath in StarCraft, voiced by Michael Dorn.
Yes.
Goliath Online.
I did. So yes, Green. I did try introducing my son to the animated '90s Spider-Man, and he said there was too much talking.
We do have the '90s X-Men as well as X-Men 2 or X-Men '97 on the Plex, and he does like that as well. Apparently, nine TNG actors in the animated series. Avery Brooks. I forgot Avery Brooks was there. LeVar Burton, Michael Dorn, Jonathan Frakes, Cole Meany, Kate Mulgrew, Nichelle Nichols, Marina Sirtis, Brent Spiner.
No, it was Star Trek Gargoyles. I
Right.
remember that. It was Star Trek Gargoyles. Yeah, Michael Dorn was like he ended up being a robot gargoyle in the end. And then yeah, Jonathan Frakes was
Yeah.
yeah. No,
That's a
there
good
was
list. Those are the 9 main actors. There's also a whole bunch of other character actors who were also in Gargoyles. I didn't realize the list was that extensive, but holy crap. The There Are Five Lights guy was apparently one of the
yeah.
elders. Holy crap.
Yeah. Look at that. I didn't know.
Wow. All right. Gargoyles, it's going on the Plex.
I was gonna say, I was like,
Legally, of course.
Legally, yes.
Of course.
So, of course. All right, there we go.
Cool.
I mean, basically, that was Star Trek talk, right?
That was Star Trek talk. We got Star Trek talk a la Gargoyles. I think that's fine.
I think that's a loop. That's totally fine. That's a loophole we found, and every time we end up, you and I get on the show, there's always at least a minute or two of somehow Star Trek talk.
Right. There we go. I posted the link in chat for those who have made it this far. If you want to check out all of the Star Trek voice actors. Yeah, no, Marina Sirtis was the main gargoyle quasi-villain chick.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a lot of people I hadn't thought that were on there. That's awesome. That's a good list. That's a super good list. Like I knew most of them were on there. I'd forgotten about Avery Brooks, but I knew LeVar, I knew Michael, I knew Jonathan, I knew Marina Sirtis. I didn't know Nichelle Nichols was in there. I didn't know Kate Mulgrew or Cole Meany were in there. That's a good list. All right,
Demora. Yeah, Demora.
Yes.
That was the name.
Gargoyles going on the list. Anyway, this has been episode 348 of Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Although next week we will be appearing at 4 p.m. Pacific time with a special broadcast from somewhere else with some...
Not Pacific Northwest.
Not Pacific Northwest.
That's all he can say, basically.
Atlantic Northeast?
Maybe. Who knows?
Ish. But even further north and further east than you think it is. It's going to be a good show.
He's going to have some safety shots with him. Just in case.
I don't know if they'll let me on the plane with those. It's more than 3 ounces of liquid, John.
Drink half. Drink another bottle of liquor. Drink half while you're there. See if it works.
Yeah.
That's a great, you know how they did, Tech Tim, did the bird who can how much data can transfer.
Oh, Gearling did the pigeon video.
Gearling, yeah. Jeff Gearling. How fast can you get sober on a plane?
So I am going to 45 Drives. And they did ask me to make sure I film a full feature-length video as part of this experience, whether it's the experience of going or whether it's about the company or whatever else. That's my compensation for the travel. And obviously travel is quite expensive. I'm literally flying to the opposite side of the continent. So that should be fun. I'm going to try to vlog my way through my airports, where, as well as like the food and drink experience that I get there.
You get the new PDX experience.
I get the new PDX terminal.
Yeah.
Right. So I get the new PDX terminal. I'm actually going to show up like 4 hours before my flight because I want to sit down and I want to have a couple brews because...
Oh, wow. What a concept, Jeff. Wow. Where was that idea? Before going to Vegas.
So my flight leaves at 9:20 at night. And so I'm going to show up at like 5 o'clock and I'm going to have dinner and a couple of beverages and my flight plan is a little funky. So I fly from Portland to Vancouver, Canada, Vancouver, BC. I then have a 90-minute layover, and then I fly from Vancouver to Toronto. I then have a 2.5 hour layover, and I fly from Toronto to Sydney, Nova Scotia. And so I've got, maybe not at Vancouver. I don't know if I'll be able to catch a beverage at Vancouver, because I'll also be going through on the ground customs and security. But definitely at Toronto, I'll have time to sit down and at least grab a brew or a cocktail or something. So maybe I'll try to find something fun to grab there. And but I want to vlog the experience going there, and I want to vlog any beverage that I have while I'm there, and then I want to vlog coming back. And so
see if they have any North Pacific West IPAs.
I'm gonna look for West Coast hops in East Coast beers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for Citro Mosaic and
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll find some Crosby Farms. You know?
Oh right. Oh no, really? Actually, yeah, it might.
Probably I will. Like that's the fun part. Yeah. Yeah. I will never forget. I think the guy was from Ireland. And I felt bad when they arrived. So this guy said, "I want to send you some beer." And he goes, "But I'm from Ireland and I don't know how to ship it." And I said, "As long as you mark it officially on the customs forums, if it arrives in the US, it'll probably arrive to me." Now, technically, you're not supposed to ship alcohol through the mail, but once it arrives in the States, they'll just send it because they're not going to return to sender or keep it. And like, there's no point to that. And so as long as it's on the customs forum, you're probably fine. However, do you really want to send me like a 4-pack? Like, that seems awfully expensive, especially Ireland. Like, I know what shipping to and from Ireland is. Yeah. And he goes, no, we have like a bunch of local brews, and I really want to get you something that... I said, okay, cool, send it on out. And so he sent me a 4-pack of beers. And I opened the 4-pack, and he goes, "Yeah, they have these really exotic hops, and it's such a great brew, man." And John, I want to see your exact expression. The hops were from Crosby Farms. He sent me an Ireland brew brewed with hops from a hop farm 4 miles from my house.
I know.
It was the greatest thing ever.
I literally went to high school with that guy.
This guy paid $90 to send me hops from down my street.
I have so many high school stories with the guy who runs Crosby Hops now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were good friends from like 8-7, then we like didn't see each other for a long time, then we ended up going to high school together. Then we ended up being like, 17 to 18, and like, oh, we're gonna go check out these girls and all. Do you remember? So this is like, again, early 2000s, the Gut in Salem, downtown. So you'd cruise with your car in the Gut, which would be like the mall area, and you'd race cars between lights.
I do remember some of that scene. I remember where that took place. That was slightly before my time. I didn't move here until 2003.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, there was all this stuff of just like, so yeah, him and I grew up, and then he took, so Crosby was his dad's stuff, and so he ended up taking over, and then I opened the tap room, and him kind of came back and became even better friends and everything like that. And so we're like, we still keep in touch nowadays of like, hey, what's going on here? And oh, this is cool. I do a YouTube channel, and I checked out your areas. Like, oh, this is fun. So we every 6 months, hey, what's going on, type of thing. Because I passed his parents' farm or house, and their area is a block away from my farm, and
right.
Every time I go, every now and then, if I go to the Top Wire, he might be there, so him and I talk and type of thing. But yeah, it is so funny now seeing. I've seen on what is it, not Untapped, but Tavor, another thing, Crosby exclusive farm, Russian River, Crosby hop IPA only, and it's like, I know this,
but dude, no, I opened this beer from Ireland, and I believe it said the hop bill was Sauvon and Citra hops from Crosby Farm.
Oh, that's funny.
I went, holy crap.
That is so.
This is the beer that he wanted to send me that had these super exotic hops, and I'm like, bro, I smell those on a daily basis.
I know.
It was just so great.
I've been in a negotiation with him of like, because I've always wanted to put an extra irrigation system in my farm. Yeah. I said, I will rent you my land. I'd rather have hop there than wheat because right now that's a much more exclusive commodity.
Totally.
And so it would be like one of those of like, it would be so hilarious in like 3 to 4 years. I'm growing hops on my farm. And then now people from Ireland or even like Skull
are sending beer from my farm.
Yeah. Like everyone's like, dude, this is literally my farm. You're just giving me my own beer. Like, what are you doing here? This is stupid.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That would be so funny. All right, I'll make you a wet hop. Here you go. I'll just do it for you.
Yeah,
this is so much better. The guy got this. All right.
All right. Anyway, this has been fun. I've already done the outro. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you next week.